Lighten up. I want the primary suite remodeled once we settle into your fancy new home, she declared during Sunday breakfast. My sibling grinned. It's just reasonable. We'll be residing there permanently. The group chuckled. A day later, my mother phoned me in a panic. Oh no. Max. What is he sharing on video? My name is Max. I'm 32. The eldest child. The go-to fixer. The person who maintains a spreadsheet for items ranging from lease payments to bulb dimensions. I have a job in project coordination, which essentially involves reminding folks that we agreed on Wednesday until Wednesday arrives. I prepare meals ahead, settle debts promptly, and maintain a directory on my computer called Files I Won't Share with Relatives. I picked up that habit after a tough lesson. My household is boisterous. My mother brought us up following the separation. She's kind, worried, and has a collection of celebration candles for emergencies. My junior brother, Brandon, is the favored one. He runs a YouTube page he refers to as a brand. His partner, Lila, claims to be his agent, which appears to involve filming him from the sofa and urging him to amp up the vibe. They possess that elusive charm where folks offer them stuff. I scrimped for 8 years. Evening courses. Extra hours. The savings container on my shelf bore a silly tag, home, since putting it in writing made it tangible. In March, my bid on a fresh construction was accepted. The agents labeled it upscale due to the countertop space and wardrobes large enough for their own postal codes. I informed perhaps 3 individuals. My mother wept. She sobbed more intensely when I mentioned, I'll remain nearby. I'm not relocating to another planet. Then she informed Brandon. Naturally she did. She desired us all to stay connected. We're a unit, she states, as if units don't include reserves. The initial spark came at a Sunday meal at an establishment that adds fees for toppings. Mom gathered everybody. Casual, she claimed. It wasn't casual. Lila appeared wearing shades as if photographers could be lurking near the drink stack. Brandon requested 3 mains for material. I hadn't intended to declare anything. I aimed to consume eggs and endure. Mom couldn't resist. Max secured the property, she announced, grasping my arm as if requiring support. Folks applauded. Lila reclined in her seat, grin prepared. Lighten up, she proclaimed, tapping her cup with the utensil. I want the primary suite remodeled once we settle into your fancy new home. She didn't grin to indicate it was humor. She uttered it like an order at a spa. Brandon beamed, as though presenting me a favor. It's just reasonable. We'll be residing there permanently. Utensils clinked. Somebody chortled excessively. Mom emitted that uneasy titter that typically signifies please avoid arguing here. My aunt murmured, oh wealthy, into her beverage. I gazed at my dish and sensed my lips forming the expression it does when I'm set to establish a limit and all are poised to act as if they missed it. I'm not intending to have housemates, I stated. Softly, resolute. Lila rolled her eyes under her shades. We're kin, she remarked, as if that ends all discussions. Brandon fiddled with his device, likely composing a title mentally. My sibling's residence walkthrough. Relocation date. He winked at me. Material. Dude. Mutual benefit. I changed to hydration. I observed the fizz ascend the container. I told myself I could depart whenever. Mom stroked my limb. We'll discuss, she murmured, which often translates to you'll cover it. The group chortled once more, as though it was all charming. A day later, my mother phoned me in a panic. Oh no. Max, what is he sharing on video? Who? I inquired, but I knew. Brandon, she replied. He's reciting figures. He's mentioning your loan sum and details about worksheets. He's broadcasting. Viewers are responding. I launched the application. There he appeared, my sibling in a sweatshirt on a stream, displaying a copy that seemed recognizable. My financial plan. The one marked home. The illumination setup made him shine like a disclosure cleric. This is what he believes he can manage, he informed the audience, chuckling. Check this entry. Decor, nil funds currently. Dude, is this the recession? Lila howled from behind the lens. The responses surged. My gut sank. The collection. The one I displayed to Mom to clarify rates. The one I had abandoned on her side table since she was emotional, joyful, and sorrowful. Keep it for me to review. I silenced the broadcast and stared at the partition. I could detect my respiration in the glow of the deactivated screen. I took no action that evening. I ignored messages. I didn't rush to repair it. I remained in the stillness and gauged the gap between my former guidelines and the ones I'd require. To grasp why a meal remark and a broadcast acted like a hidden drop beneath my steps, you need the gradual record. The one tagged trends, not turmoil. Mom had me at 21. Dad departed when Brandon began early education. I was the assistant child, the one who heated supper while Mom completed work. I mastered adaptability. Adaptability becomes unseen if you neglect it, and I neglected it. Brandon mastered allure. At 12, he persuaded a local to purchase him a board for an assignment. At 15, he convinced Mom to endorse a recorder for studies. When she couldn't, he approached me. It'll recoup, he claimed, hands open like evidence. I acquired the budget version and instructed him to reimburse $20 weekly. He reimbursed twice. He labeled me fixated on cash. He recorded a clip named Residing with a thrift warrior. He removed it upon my request. He reinstated it when his audience dropped. Minor items accumulate. At 19, I held dual employment and attended evening sessions to complete a qualification. Brandon abandoned a partnership with a fellow who subsequently hijacked his access. He contacted me weeping. All is lost, he stated. I assisted him draft messages to assistants, waited with him online, recovered it. He expressed gratitude by sharing an update, props to my gadget guy. It linked an unrelated profile. He claimed he was preserving my privacy. Mom was perpetually the mediator and the enhancer. Kin aids kin, she'd declare. Gaze damp, since that's what she wished to believe. It meant, Max manages it. When Brandon's payment was overdue, she rang me at 11:47 p.m. Could you simply? I'll reimburse. She reimbursed $50 once via store voucher. Figures are how I was nurtured amid disorder. They are serene to me. If I can tally it, I can grasp it. So yes, I maintain a record. If you dismiss that, you've never witnessed a disconnection alert slip beneath an entrance like a knife. 2 years prior, Mom's place overflowed. Brandon inquired if they could stay briefly. I agreed. They arrived with 6 sacks, 2 lighting rigs, a pet, and a cooker. Brief became extended. Lila occupied the sleeping area. They recorded past midnight. The pet chewed my network wire. When I requested $300 for services, Brandon said, "You're trivial if you demand funds from kin." Lila termed me proprietor. They departed after 53 days. I recall the count as it's documented. Attempt to mock a figure you confront nightly. Subsequently, when Mom's vehicle required fixes, I covered $680. I didn't deliver a lecture. I merely forwarded the proof. Brandon responded, "True siblings don't retain proofs." I didn't answer as I was attempting to be a true sibling. That's how you continue being exploited, incidentally. You strive to earn a label someone already judged you unworthy of. When I began seeking properties, I disclosed to none. I processed calculations like a pastime. I attended viewings solo and captured images like an intruder. In December, I informed Mom. She wept and said, "You accomplished this." She cupped my cheeks and whispered, "You owe no one." Then she messaged Brandon, as that's automatic. Brandon's response, material. He desired to capture the hunt. I declined. He called me barrier. Lila forwarded me design collections of subtle manly primary areas. She mentioned she adored a privacy notice for our space. I said, "There is no our." She sent a chuckling symbol and said, "Max is timid." At the meal, when she demanded the primary suite, I sensed every minor item I'd endured align into a backbone. I believed it would halt there. I believed a limit voiced publicly would resonate. It didn't. The broadcast worsened it. Brandon wasn't merely reciting my figures. He was broadcasting my existence for likes and flames. He allocated precisely $1,200 for kin support, he stated, and grimaced at the lens. Lila exclaimed like a contest participant. Why limit it? However, she added, that's unkind. He marked acquisition expenses with a marker and said, he deems this essential. I'll simply contact the agent and mention I'm kin. The audience overflowed with suggestions. Stage a gag where you relocate without permission. We require constant residence feed. Unpack his cooler. I wasn't humiliated. I was chilled. That's the apt term. The sort of chill where your digits fail and you can't discern if you're clutching something. Mom rang. I instructed him to erase it, she said. He restricted me from the stream. All right, I replied. What will you do? She inquired, the ancient signal for, how will you prevent the chaos anew? Reflect, I said. Rest. I rested poorly. Upon awakening, My device had 27 alerts. 3 were positive. 24 were outsiders urging me to distribute, since he's your sib. 1 was Lila. Lighten up. You're causing folks odd by being odd. During midday, Brandon messaged, don't be upset. It's merely material. Plus we must discuss spaces. Our rental concludes next month and relocating with you would conserve us around $2,000. Mutual gain. I contacted him. Remove the clip, I said. It's already posted, he replied. You can't erase streams. That's the essence. It's genuine. You can hide the recording, I said. Or express regret. Regret for what? You're acquiring a upscale dwelling while your kin struggles. I struggle too, I said. He exhaled as if I missed the atmosphere. You possess lead role vibe. Allow us to join. And Lila wishes to consult a decorator tomorrow to discuss the primary. She's considering mosaic. No, I said. He chortled. Dude, you must release command. I am releasing, I said. I'm releasing being your fallback. He disconnected. That evening, my mom messaged. Can we gather? I believe we need to establish guidelines. Adore you. She places adore you first when she anticipates anger. I agreed. I selected a slot. I produced 3 items. A halt and refrain model you can dispatch for a confidentiality breach. A basic single-sheet visitor contract a legal acquaintance provided months back. And a roster of figures headed what I can manage without syncing. When you deal with folks who view you as a payment method, you bring documents to talks. Terms drift. Documents halt drifting. The following day, the clip's audience doubled. Lila shared a clip of fabrics. Title: Selecting moods for our fresh primary. Mom remarked, proud of you pair. Then messaged me. Apologies, 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 incorrect profile. I tallied to 10. It nearly succeeded. By the gathering, I was composed. Composed like a secured document. We convened at Mom's place since she enjoys nourishing string. She prepared a bake and placed 6 utensils on the surface like utensils are impartial. The screen was silenced. An ancient routine from when disputes were ambience. Brandon and Lila arrived 10 minutes delayed. Lighting rig in a bag. No recording, I said at the entrance. Lila sulked. You're harming the page. Mom quieted her with rolls. Let's converse, she said. She gazed at me with that imploring expression that once transformed me into a human swab. I placed my palms under me so I wouldn't commence swabbing. I positioned the collection on the surface. Basic rules, I said. Brief. Distinct. Brandon claimed the seat opposite and reclined as if discussions were entertaining. Proceed. First, I said, remove the clip with my financials. Cease mentioning my dwelling openly. Don't reveal the location. Don't display documents. Don't display figures. He grinned smugly. You can't regulate expression. Constitutional right. I pushed the halt and refrain over. I can regulate usage of personal records and recognizable monetary data. I can also submit confidentiality grievances. I prefer not to. Don't force me. Mom flinched. Lila circled her eyes fully. It's merely interaction, she said. Second, I said, nobody is relocating to my dwelling. Not you. Not your pet. Not your lighting rig. Not for a week. Not for a month. Not until I pass. Not after I pass. If you wish to stop by, fine. Provide a date. Remain for meal. Depart by 10. Mom's lips parted. But no, I said. I adore you. No. Brandon's smile turned harsh. You believe you're superior, he murmured. Always have. I believe I labor for what I possess, I said. I believe you assume that renders me accountable for you. Lila set her device aside. Get real, she said. It's sensible. We'd conserve $2,000 monthly. You won't notice. You're getting an upscale spot. Don't be strange. Third, I said, disregarding the proposal. If you require lodging aid, we can discuss a brief rental in a unit I know. Standard price. Documented rental. Initial payment. Silent periods. No recording. Where you can trim your expenses and secure a small place. I'll assist with a worksheet. Brandon chortled in a manner that irritated my back. You're fixated on documents, he said. You ignore individuals. I maintain my tone subdued. Documents are how I shield individuals from me. So I don't harbor grudge later. So I don't agree and then drain in the washroom because I can't sustain what I committed. He paused. For a moment, something resembling comprehension shifted in his gaze. Lila burst it with, you're overly theatrical. Mom attempted another approach. What about me? She said, faint. Could I visit occasionally? If I'm isolated. Yes, I said. Contact me. We'll arrange. You'll have an access. It's your personal sequence. That's distinct. Brandon gestured. Preference, he said, as if he'd created the term. No, I said. Limits founded on past. You don't settle debts. You consume. You create material from my existence. You're not entering. He fell silent. His chin tensed. The atmosphere thinned. He rose. You're creating a foe, he said, of your own sibling. I rose as well. I'm creating a boundary, I said, between my existence and your page. Lila sneered. All right, autocrat, she said. What more? Fourth, I said, pushing the single-sheet visitor contract across to Mom solely. Anyone who remains endorses one of these. It specifies items like 2 evenings maximum and no capture tools, and if you damage it, you repair it. It's not a snare. It's a guide. Mom contacted the document as if it could sting. This is very formal, she whispered. I am formal, I said, with my existence. Brandon tapped the collection with his knuckle. The sheets spread. You're repulsive, he said. You behave as if we're outsiders. You behave as if I'm a purse, I said. He pushed his seat. It screeched. Everyone believes you're benevolent, he said. They miss you tallying. I observe you tallying. I tally because nobody tallied for me, I said, and because you rely on me to not tally. Lila crossed her limbs. We'll generate our own funds, she retorted. We don't require your small dwelling. It's 2,400 square feet, I said, since that's me. She grimaced. Pathetic. Brandon seized his bag. Don't contact me when you need material, he said. We'll manage. I never contacted, I said. He headed to the exit. He pivoted. You truly believe you're the champion, he said. You're merely resentful because we mastered living. I believe I'm weary, I said, and I'm finished. This isn't about payback. This is about resolution. He recoiled at that. He exited. Lila trailed, muttering. Let him be impoverished with his worksheets. The entrance shut. Noise returned. Mom remained motionless. She gazed at the visitor contract. I dislike this, she said. I understand, I said. It causes me to feel like I nurtured you incorrectly, she said, tone fragile. I shifted my seat nearer. You nurtured me to endure, I said. Endurance appears like this. She affirmed without glancing up. He'll be angry, she said. He is already, I said. She placed the document down. Can I still deliver candles? She inquired, absurd and ideal. Yes, I said. Please deliver candles. The subsequent morning, I messaged Brandon. Concise. Distinct. Topic. No capturing of my existence plus eliminate financial clip. Content. These are my limits. Enclosures. A genuine halt and refrain prepared by a real attorney I compensated from my kin aid allocation. A prompt that sharing recognizable monetary records is a confidentiality infringement and a catalog of local aids for lodging support because I am not a villain. He responded with a rude gesture symbol. I responded with zilch. I gathered my utensils and the silly tag container. I collected my access items. I traveled to my finalization and inscribed my name repeatedly until my grip ached. The instrument had a heft I appreciated. The transfer officer said, "Well done," and I said, "Appreciate it," and intended it in a subdued manner that felt like pausing in an entry before advancing. The initial week in the fresh home was clamor succeeded by uncommon stillness. Relocators in the drive. Technicians. The constructor performing a final inspection, indicating seals like they signified. Then the entrance shut, and it was my home emitting home sounds. Cooling system hum. Fresh timber creak. Frozen drops tumbling into the chiller like small cascades. I rested on a bed base on the ground the first 2 evenings. The countertop appeared absurd without seats. I consumed delivery perched on a color pail and messaged Mom an image. She sent affections. She sent proud of you, child. She sent a candle symbol. Brandon shared 2 additional digs. A brief where he explored a furniture store bed setup and named it Crafting Max's Primary Gratis. And a query response where he addressed, "Would you relocate regardless?" With "He can't halt kin." The responses were draining. Some adored him. Some labeled him demanding. He embraced both. I submitted the confidentiality grievance. The site removed the stream recording within 48 hours. I didn't proclaim it. I didn't forward him a capture. I permitted the quiet to communicate. He rang me 10 times in a day. I answered on the 11th. "You truly think you can suppress me?" He barked. "I think I can safeguard my personal data," I said. "You're a traitor," he said. "Mom is weeping." "I visited her yesterday," I said. "We consumed broth." She has access. Wow, he sneered. So I'm the antagonist, and she's your partner now. I'm disconnecting, I said. I'll converse when you're not acting. He was still speaking when I did. Lila shared an update of her discarding color samples into a bin. Title, When Kin Obstructs Your Innovation. She linked me. I utilized the restrict option and felt 20 pounds freer. Mom stopped by on Sunday. She delivered baked pasta and a sack of assorted items she deems essential in all homes. A medical pack, adhesive strip, 3 cloths with fruits on them. She toured the areas like in a gallery where contact is permitted. It resonates, she said, applauding once, as if she could assess joy with audio. It'll accumulate, I said. In the cooking area, she positioned the first cloth on the cooker grip, and I nearly wept. Not due to a cloth, because something gentle could be in a space I funded without obligation to another's temperament. We configured her sequence on the panel. She rehearsed twice. She whispered, I'm not informing him, and I said, don't. She didn't. 2 days on, Brandon appeared regardless. He pounded on the entrance. He captured himself pounding on the entrance. The security lens recorded him acting. He yelled, unlock, owner. Like a jest. I didn't unlock. I messaged, not suitable now. No capturing. He shared the segment with circus tunes. I sent him one note. If you intrude again, I will summon authorities. He replied, proceed. I did not. I did, though, forward my attorney a memo. She prepared an official note. No interaction without message approval. No arriving unannounced. No capturing my asset. She dispatched it verified. I settled the bill and filed it in the collection. Employment remained dull, thankfully. Colleagues inquired about the home. I said, it's fine, and displayed an image of the tap, which is secure. My supervisor said, you appear less tense, and I chortled because that's accurate. At evening, I assembled furnishings with a tool like it was atonement. I discovered a pattern. Containers, directions, fasten. Chuckle when I aired, unfasten, retry. Nobody requested funds. Nobody labeled me egoistic. I rested. One midday, Mom rang and said, he's claiming he'll litigate you for sentimental harm. I said, that's not valid. She said, he realizes, and exhaled. She's mastering letting his clamor be his clamor. On day 12, Brandon messaged, we can arrange a brief rental. We'll be considerate. It'll be solid material, kidding. Mom vowed you'd agree. I composed and erased 3 variants of no. I settled on, I hope you succeed. I am not your lodging strategy. If you need aids, inquire. He sent, wow, and then zilch. My home acquired seating. My home acquired a mat. My home acquired a mark in the corridor where I aired a maneuver, and I didn't mind because the mark signified existence was occurring here. Occasionally, late, I browse. I observe Brandon shifting his page. He's performing gags on himself now. He acquired a missed device and triggered his alert. Folks still view. He'll manage, or he won't. That's not my obligation to cover. If there's a lesson, it's mundane. Tally, document it, voice it, and permit folks to be upset. The former me would have pursued Brandon online, debating in responses, forming a declaration, regretting manner. The current me acquired a sweeper, cleared debris, and prepared noodles. The former me would have permitted kin to triumph as a term over deeds. The current me selected deeds. Here's what I won't perform anymore. I won't permit anyone to term me trivial for retaining proofs. I won't permit anyone to say, lighten up, when they intend, shrink yourself so we can climb on you. I won't distribute access to folks who utilize spaces as stages. I won't regret a secured entrance in a home I fund. Here's what I will perform. I will maintain an allocation for Mom, because affection and past can coexist in finances. I will keep a visitor contract in the storage beside the cloths, not because I anticipate weekly use, but because its presence maintains my kindness. I will state facts when questioned. I will say no, like someone who comprehends his intent. Brandon will experience another phase. Perhaps he'll mature. Perhaps he'll gain audience. I don't schedule it. If he contacts without a lens and requests aid drafting a strategy, I'll aid. If he arrives with a lighting rig, I'll secure the entrance. Straightforward. Not harsh. Neat. When I position in my cooking area mornings and brew drink, I detect a sound I didn't realize was absent. It's not quiet. It's akin to my own tone, not disputing me. It says, well done occasionally. It says, you achieved that. It says, you can cease monitoring your device. Mom still messages excessive symbols. She still delivers candles. She still airs and says we when she intends you. I adjust her softly. She adjusts herself. We're progressing. On relocation day, I located the old container with the silly tag. I positioned it on a ledge in the storage. It's vacant now. I retained the tag anyway. Not as humor. As proof. This isn't about payback, I informed Brandon. This is about resolution. It remains so. It's also about something larger that's less theatrical and more practical. Being an adult male who grasps that, no, is not a flaw in affection. It's the structure. If you're the max in your household, here's your approval note. You don't owe anyone the primary suite in a home you haven't rested in yet. You don't owe the web your finances. You don't owe material. You can determine what belongs where, and who belongs where, and when they depart. You can be benevolent without being an entrance. I'm going to acquire seats this weekend. Perhaps I'll select the costly ones. Perhaps I'll delay. Either way, I'm the decider. That's the opulence. Not the countertop. Not the area. This. The selecting. The mechanism engaging at evening. The distinct boundary. The stillness that isn't vacant. It turns out resolution sounds like a sequence confirming approval. It appears like a visitor cloth creased once. It feels like not preparing. No payback. Just resolution. And an entrance that opens to folks who tap without a lens.